What's up, guys? My name is Jason McCullough. This is Music for My Sanity. My buddy just hit me a message asking about how to kind of smooth out the fret ends, especially when you got cheaper kits, Chinese stuff. Let me give you a good example. This screaming piece of shit. This thing is terrible. This is just, I bought this neck just to have some fun with it, practice, try some things out. It was really going to be a replacement neck for something really crappy, but it turns out that the replacement neck is actually crappier than the thing I was going to put it on. So I didn't do anything with this. I did a big fret level job on it. Then yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So I don't know if I can show you this. You can't really see it too well, but these fret ends. I can't get it in focus. Anyways, these fret ends are terrible. What you can do if you want to kind of soften up and smooth out the edges of those, because they can be brutally sharp, is take some masking tape, run a piece all the way up and down this. Let me see if I can get this on camera. So you're just gonna run it right along the edge of the fretboard, right up near the top. You don't want to go over it because you want to be able to get the edges of those frets. So let's just run this as close as we can. Ah, son of a bitch. Anyways, let's run this as close as we can. I should use some better masking tape like the Painter Blue Tape. Because all we're doing really is protecting the edge of the fretboard from the sandpaper method that you can use. Now, obviously, there's better ways to do this, but if you're very much a DIY kind of person, you don't really have the specialty tools, fret end files. I think the idea of a fret end file being categorically pretty dumb, simply because all it is another fucking file. It's just a file. It's just a file. So anyways, so yeah, I got this masking tape running all the way. Let's see. Oh, is that the camera? Where the hell's the camera? Anyways, I got the masking tape. It's not perfect, but I don't really care about this neck. So what I got is a piece of 800, piece of 1500, and a piece of 2000 grit sandpaper. And all I'm gonna do is this really simple, really kind of no-brainer kind of thing, man. I'm just gonna run it up and down. Kind of want to overlap a little bit, and just have at it. Get some 800 on there. I mean, like I said, there's specialty tools for this, but we're not trying to take a lot off. We're just trying to get those burrs and sharp edges off. And again, I wish I could show you just what this has done. I mean, it's done a lot. It's smoothed out those edges incredibly already. Ah, damn it, I can't get it in focus. But anyways, that's the idea. So we got, what did I do, 800, and we jump to 1500 real quick. And the higher you get up, these are more like polishing, especially when you get to 2000, that's more of a polishing grit. So then you're just gonna do the same thing, 1500. And obviously some are gonna take a little more work. If you're not happy with it, do this, do little round circles, whatever. It's actually really, really stupid simple. Not a big deal. And also, this gets rid of some of those machine marks that you see on a lot of the cheaper necks. So, and it feels a lot better on your fingers, on your hand, especially down at the treble side as you're sliding up and down. Say 1500, now we're on 2000. Cool thing about 2000 is you can literally, if you want, tape your neck up. If you really want to polish your frets really good, after you do a fret leveling, I'll take 2000 grit instead of fret erasers and just run it. Just lightly. You don't want to take any of the material really off. You just really want to gloss over it. But again, hit the sides. And it's just because, your fingers are going to have a little bit of give. And it looks like, yeah, you might want to tape the fretboard a little bit, but not always. I've never really had a problem with it, but I'm really kind of going at this thing. Yeah. And that should do a pretty good job. Go back, feel what you got. If you got some hard spots, go back with the 800. You got any spots that are kind of sharp like I'm feeling, you can go back with the 800. Again, well, I guess to say this, you should tape up the sides, or you should tape between your frets. Let's just be safe. I mean, tape is cheap, right? It's a pain in the ass with a lot of work, but it's not worth skipping. I don't give a shit about this neck, so it doesn't really matter for me. So I'm back on the 800. I guess you could possibly start at 600 if you had to, but yeah, that works pretty good. 600 might take a little bit much off. I mean, you know, in a way, you can get the same amount done with 800. It just takes longer. So, yeah. Well, actually, these are really bad. I might actually need to go to 600. But yeah, that is typically after I do a fret job, you know, a fret leveling, things like that, or buy a cheap guitar kit. I will go through and hit all the fret ends with some sandpaper. Now, if you want to go for really professional, you have a couple of choices. I find you can use a very fine, file to work on the fret ends like this. You know, you can really get a lot done with a silly little file. Just gotta watch out. One of the things you can do to make these safe is you can you can rub down the corners to make them smooth and get rid of the grain, and then you can actually do your fret crowning, everything. They can't do your fret leveling, but do your fret crowning, do the ends, everything, just this one little file. If you're not comfortable with that, or if you want to have a tool that you can maybe round off the top of the ends of the frets. Remember, you need to be about 33 degrees. I think it's 33, right? Or yeah, no, a little bit hot. Yeah, you don't want it too far down. Anyways, you can always take a piece of wood and either glue or tape some sandpaper to it. I mean, got something like this. Just a little block of wood, right? Well, I've got some double-sided tape, so I can just double-side tape each part, put a different grit of sandpaper on it. If I'm not happy with, if my simple, just, you know, rubbing along the edges, if that didn't really work, I can always do, and if I don't have a file, sandpaper and a block, I use different grains of sandpaper, and I can round them off. You know, if I need to get the corners, it's got a corner too, so if I get the sandpaper all the way to the edge of the block, I can do that too. So, you know, or if you don't want to get the aggressiveness of a file, dude, you can wrap a file in sandpaper. There's a lot of things you can do. You're not limited. It seems scary, but it's really not, and there's nothing really magical or complicated about it. So I've had a lot of luck, like I said, just rubbing it along. Although this one seems like it's going to need a bit more work. It looks like I really got to hit it with some 600. So before I'll be happy. You can also get fret erasers. Crimson Guitars has a fantastic set. That is, some people don't like the StewMac ones. The Crimson Guitar ones are definitely better. So it's just a quick little tip. Anyways, guys, that is it. Yeah, that is my crappy $50 Chinese neck, that Frankenstein. So, all right, guys. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, cheers.